I really enjoyed our three presenters. I thought it was fascinating. I happen to be sitting up here, but I really appreciate it. Wonderful ideas, insights, information from three different perspectives at different levels. So thank you very much, and another round of applause, please. Also, I'd like to recruit people to join the new course that Dr. Chavez mentioned, possibly design. Really? Well,
But I'd be glad to help.
I would like to start off, first of all, saying that we are in the process of putting the, in addition to the materials up online, we're filming today thanks to Sarah Carlson and her and Mike to put the statements and discussions and presentations up online so that those of you who'd like to go back over it and say, so what exactly, that was a great idea, I'd like to go back over that, or folks who are not in the room today, you'll be getting news about that very shortly. So first I would like to open it up for discussion. We have really about 15 minutes to stay right on time at 3. There is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'd like to give you an invitation to our food and nutrition section's regular meeting. It's going to be an in-person opportunity as opposed to most of our conference calls that we have once a month. All are welcome. It's going to be in this hotel at 8. I don't know the room, but we're going to be talking about what we'd like to do in the next 12 months. So I'd like to follow up on, let's start out with Noel Chavez question, and if I'm stating it correctly, what is our role? Our role meaning as a community, as a region, as a country?
As public health professionals.
As public health professionals.
As consumers. Does anybody here not consume food?
So I'd like to open it up, and we'll try to take as many questions as we can in about 15 minutes. Please.
I think as being part of the Global Food Network, it's important for everyone to be an educator. So I just wanted to clear one thing up. We kind of talked about high fructose corn syrup here for a second. So I wanted to ask Angela and Noel, in your professional opinions, would you suggest high fructose corn syrup to people? Or have you ever done that in the past?
I think I go back to a question that was asked on my master's thesis defense. What do you think about sugared cereals for children? And I said, well, if there's nothing else for breakfast, I'd rather have them eat sugared cereals than not eat breakfast. And I think it's one of those small, at the right time in the right place, I think it's a useful product. Is it something that most of us should realistically try to increase in our diets? Probably not.
Is it sustainable, I guess?
Is it sustainable?
Yes.
In what sense of sustainable?
Like, is it good for future generations of
For
humans?
future generations. I don't know. I don't know. I think we need to talk to people who are experts in looking at food production and food science and how things are put together, as well as agricultural sorts of things, along with experts on the health side to be able to say what's the long term. Because we're very good at short term, and we're sometimes not very good at, not as good at long term.
Yes.
So I think we don't know.
So my role specifically, I run an aquaponics company in Chicago, and so we build the systems for people to grow vegetables on. So basically, the laws in Chicago do not allow us to do this. We're not allowed to grow, have livestock in Chicago because of outdated laws and things like that. So I've been looking for help in finding ways to actually engage a conversation with the city that's meaningful. So as our rules, we try to grow vegetables, but the legislation is not allowing us to. My question is, how do you think we should go about that? Because the USDA is...
Food Policy Council?
I've gone to all the meetings in the last 2 years, actually.
I think that's probably the most likely way to get through unless you develop personal relationships with some of the the people in planning folks, and some of the older people?
Yeah, fortunately, the Food Policy Council has not had any legislation passed since they started, so they're lagging.
No. This might be, not a. I think it's important when we come up with these solutions to engage community residents in these solutions. I think that part of what happens with the support of these efforts, because we all live in local communities, and to convince these policymakers, partly you have to have local residents. And I think I had a conversation with a person about this, and mind you, I'm working in a community that I'm not a member of. So let's remember that. Even though I'm African American, I'm not an Inglewood resident. I live further south. So I think when we come up with these ideas, it's important. Part of what can help forward those ideas is to get other community residents on board, because people are not going to respond, policymakers are not going to respond to people that they don't have accountability to. They respond to voters. So if you live in a ward or you live in a district that want, it's the pourquoi argument. Chicago has a pourquoi, isn't that pourquoi? Yeah. The Chicago has that we can't have pourquoi. We don't have anything else that we can. What did you say? We can now. We can, but for a while we couldn't. For a while we couldn't. And then now we can because somebody decided we could, right? So most of us have never heard of it. I mean, most of us, that's not something that we engage in on a daily basis. There was something that, so part of it is, I think, is how do we we come up with these solutions, but we really need to engage the people within the communities that would benefit or that would have some perspective on these solutions. It's important to engage a larger discussion, not just a small group that's focusing on some of these issues. We need to figure out how to get it out to the masses. Let me give you an example of that. I was on the WIC IOM committee to add fruits and vegetables to the food package. Most people, and that wasn't me, you know what I mean? I don't want to act like it was me. But in the discussions of who comes and who hears, I live in a community that has a large population that's receiving WIC benefits. So I think the issue is what do they know about these policies? We can't be elitists and be an isolated group. We have to get out to the person on the corner, the person in front of a store. We can't have these elitist solutions and say we want everybody to do X, and people are not engaged. We have to engage people at the local level. I have ideas. I'm not necessarily the regular community resident, but we have to figure out, if you're interested in urban or aquaponics, right? Then we need to figure out, you're in a community, I'm assuming.
Back of the yards.
You're in back of the yards. How many people within back of the yards are even aware of what you're doing?
We try to tell as many people as we can, but every alderman in our area has actually worked together and nothing gets done.
And how many people in back of the yards decided that they wanted that?
How many people in back of the yards?
Right. I mean, who in back of the yards came and said, we want aquaponics?
No one, because it's not allowed.
Okay.